The village of Larkspur slept beneath a sky full of quiet stars. Wind whispered through the wheat fields, the soft rustle mixing with the distant hum of night insects. Life here was simple. No neon lights, no noise from the cities, just the slow rhythm of human hearts beating under the ancient moon. Alara walked home with a basket of herbs balanced on her arm. She was 17, a healer's apprentice, and everyone in the village knew her laughter. It was the kind that made even tired farmers smile at the end of a hard day. That night, her laughter was the last sound the village would ever remember before the silence. It started as a tremor in the air, a low vibration, like thunder that had lost its way. Dogs began to bark. Chickens fluttered in panic. Alara stopped on the dirt path, her heart pounding. Then the stars moved. No, not the stars. Something was descending. A streak of silver fire tore across the heavens, and a cone of light stabbed down into the fields, searing the night white. Alara dropped her basket and shielded her eyes. From inside the light, shadows moved, tall, thin figures, too smooth, too deliberate. The air smelled like ozone and iron. She tried to run. Her bare feet pounded the earth, heart screaming in her chest. The light followed. It caught her in mid-stride, a perfect, merciless circle. The last thing she saw was her own hand reaching upward as the world dissolved into blue fire. Then she was gone. By dawn, the village was chaos. Smoke drifted over crushed wheat, where the beam had scorched a perfect ring into the ground. Her parents knelt in the dirt, sobbing. Soldiers came within hours, first from the local garrison, then from the Global Response Authority. Drones buzzed overhead, scanning for radiation for clues. They found nothing. No footprints, no heat signatures, no residue. Just a hole in the sky and silence. Until they looked up. The orbiting defense satellites had recorded a single frame of data before losing signal. A vessel of unknown configuration, size impossible to estimate, vanishing into the upper atmosphere. The aliens had returned. For decades, humanity had whispered stories about abductions, about lights in the sky. The governments dismissed them, the scientists demanded proof, and the world moved on. But this time there was proof. This time it was undeniable. The world changed overnight. In the capital, the Council of Nations convened for the first time in 40 years. Generals, presidents, scientists, all gathered under the same flag. Across every screen, the image of Alara's face appeared, a smiling village girl, now the symbol of Earth's first confirmed abduction. Her name became a rallying cry. They took one of ours, and humanity, fragile and divided as it had been for centuries, remembered what unity felt like. Factories once abandoned for rust began to hum again. The old shipyards lit up with fire and light. The Stellar Forge initiative, once a dream of deep space exploration, was reactivated overnight. Within weeks, every orbital launch pad thundered with life. Fleets of prototype vessels rose into the dark. Warships, interceptors, carriers. Humanity was going to space, not for conquest, but for one girl. At the edge of Earth's orbit, Commander Aric Vale stood on the bridge of the Resolute, humanity's newest deep space warship. He'd served in the asteroid wars, fought pirates near Europa, and seen his share of darkness. But this mission was different. When the order came, there had been no hesitation. Every man and woman under his command had volunteered. Vale stared out at the curve of the blue planet below. She was just a girl, he said quietly. Beside him, the science officer, Dr. Miricha, nodded. Just a girl, she echoed. And that's exactly why we have to go. Vale's hand tightened on the railing. They thought we'd do nothing, that we'd stay small and scared. They're about to find out what a mistake that was. He turned toward his crew. All stations prepare for FDL launch. We have our trajectory. We have our reason. Let's bring her home. Engines ignited. The Resolute's hull shimmered as it cut through the void, vanishing into the folds of space-time. Behind it, Earth glowed like a fragile jewel, small, defiant, unbroken. Somewhere out there, among the endless stars, a frightened girl waited in the hands of the unknown. But she wasn't alone anymore. Humanity was coming. The Resolute cut through the darkness like a blade. Her engines whispered against the void, bending light, warping gravity, tearing open the thin fabric of space. Humanity had dreamed of this for centuries, and now they were chasing that dream into war. For 6 days, they followed the trace. The alien ship's drive signature was unlike anything human science had ever seen, faint, unstable, almost like it didn't belong in normal space. Dr. Mira-chun sat at her console, fingers dancing over the holographic displays, eyes bloodshot from sleepless nights. "Every reading we get fades too quickly," she murmured. "It's like they're phasing between dimensions." Commander Vale stood beside her, silent. The hum of the ship vibrated in the bones of everyone aboard. Outside the viewport, the stars stretched into ribbons as they accelerated through the jump corridor. "We'll find them," Vale said finally. His voice was low, steady. "Humans built this ship for one reason, to prove we don't get taken." In the crew quarters, tension simmered like static. Pilots ran combat simulations. Engineers inspected weapons systems again and again. Even the medics carried sidearms now. They all knew what was at stake. Not just one girl, but the unspoken message written in her abduction. Humanity is prey. No one on board was willing to accept that. "Contact." The call came from a sensor pit. "Unknown object on long-range scanners, bearing 21 Mark 5. Energy signature, similar to the trace." The bridge came alive. "Bring it on screen," Vale ordered. The view shifted. In the endless black appeared a faint, glimmering distortion, like heat haze on desert air. "It's cloaked," Chen whispered. "But it's there. Helm, close to 10,000 clicks. Tactical, ready weapons." As the Resolute drew near, the distortion flickered and then resolved into something that defied all logic. The alien vessel was alive. Its hull pulsed like the surface of a jellyfish, colors rippling across it like oil on water. Tendrils of bioluminescent energy floated from its body, trailing through the void. No metal, no welds, no engines as humans knew them, just living matter molded into shape. "Holy hell," someone breathed. "Broadcast on all channels," Vale ordered. "Let's see if they want to talk." A moment passed, then another. Silence. Suddenly, the Resolute's system screamed. Alarms blaring, displays flashing red. "They're scanning us," Chen shouted. Full spectrum analysis. A beam of crimson light struck across the void, grazing the Resolute's hull. Shields flared white. "Evasive maneuvers," Vale barked. "Return fire." The first battle between humanity and the unknown had begun. Railguns thundered. Missiles streaked like burning comets. The alien ship responded not with weapons, but with waves of energy, rippling distortions that bent gravity itself. 2 missiles curved off course, spiraling into nothing. "Shields at 70, cried Tactical. Vale gritted his teeth. "Helm, bring us in close. Let's show them what human engineering can do." The Resolute dove under the alien's belly, guns blazing. Tungsten slugs tore through the organic hull, sending gouts of glowing fluid into space. The alien ship shrieked, an electromagnetic pulse that rattled every system on board. "They're retreating," Chen gasped. "Drive spike detected. They're folding space." "Track it," Vale ordered. But the alien vessel blinked out of existence, gone in a pulse of ultraviolet light. A heavy silence filled the bridge. Only the sound of cooling metal and crackling consoles broke it. Chun slumped in her chair. "We heard it, but we lost the trace again." Vale stared at the empty stars. "No, not lost. Look." On the forward display, a faint residue shimmered, a cloud of ionized particles drifting like stardust. Embedded within it was a fragment of alien material, torn loose by the battle. Vale's eyes hardened. "Recover it." Minutes later, the crew brought it aboard, a shard of organic crystal, pulsing faintly like a heartbeat. Chun studied it in the lab, fascinated and horrified. "It's neural tissue," she whispered. "Part of their ship. It's alive, and it's trying to talk." The fragment twitched, patterns of light pulsing across its surface. A faint sound echoed through the lab, distorted, broken, but unmistakably a voice. Through the static, a few words emerged. "Do not follow. She is ours. You'll die." The lights flickered. Then silence. Vale entered the lab, his expression grim. "What did it say?" Chen met his eyes. "They know we're coming, and they're afraid." "Good," Vale said coldly. "Fear means they understand what's coming for them." He turned toward the viewport, where the stars glimmered like shards of promise. "Plot a new course. If they left a trail, we'll find it. Wherever they're hiding that girl, we'll tear through every corner of this galaxy until we bring her home." Outside, the Resolute's engines flared once more, painting the void in human fire. The hunt had truly begun. Space shimmered like liquid crystal around the Resolute as it emerged from the final jump. For a long, silent moment, no one spoke. The view beyond the viewport wasn't stars. It was a structure. "By all that's human," whispered Lieutenant Rafi. "It's a planet-sized station." It hung in the void like a frozen sun, a sphere of translucent material glittering like glass. Veins of light pulsed across its surface, flowing inward toward a dark core. Thousands of smaller vessels orbited it like insects around a hive. Dr. Mirachin's instruments were flooded with data. Energy readings off the scale. It's organic, but it's grown around an artificial nucleus. This entire structure is alive. Commander Vale's voice was low. "Then we've found their home." He stared into the shifting light of the alien world and thought of the girl they'd come for. Ilera. Somewhere down there, a human heart was still beating. "Bring us in close," he ordered, quietly. "Let's find where they're keeping her." In the heart of the hive, Ilera floated in a sphere of soft, blue light. She wasn't in pain. Not exactly. It was something worse. She could feel them. The creatures. Their thoughts pressed against her mind like cold hands searching for warmth. They spoke without words, their voices echoing inside her skull. Curious, defiant, primitive. She couldn't see them. Only the shapes moving beyond the glass of her containment sphere, tall, translucent beings, their forms rippling with color. They watched her as if she were a strange animal that had learned to stare back. Every time she tried to speak, the light inside her cell pulsed, and her voice was gone. But she remembered her mother's voice. She remembered the warmth of the sun on her face. And she remembered the sky, the one they stole her from. So she whispered to herself in the silence. "They'll come for me. Humans don't forget." Above the hive, the Resolute hid in the shadow of a dead moon. Drones scouted the outer layers of the structure, transmitting shimmering hollow feeds back to the bridge. "There," Chen said, pointing to a pulsing network of light within the sphere. "That chamber, the energy signature, matches the material from the shard we recovered. It's some kind of centroneural node." Vale frowned. "And her signal?" Chen hesitated. "Faint, but it's there. Human biosignature. Deep inside the core." Vale's jaw tightened. "Then that's where we're going." He turned to his strike team, 12 Marines, each armored in dark exosuits, their helmets reflecting the cold light of the void. "You all know what's at stake," he said. "This isn't just a rescue. It's a message to every corner of the universe. If you touch one human, we will come for you." The soldiers saluted in silence. The drop ship, Vanguard, launched like a comet toward the hive. Its hull shimmered, disguised by electromagnetic scatter fields. As they entered the alien atmosphere, lightning arced through the transparent clouds, illuminating vast crystalline towers and rivers of glowing fluid. "Getting readings of life everywhere," said Sergeant Amina. "Thousands of entities moving in patterns. It's a colony." The Vanguard descended through a canyon of glass spires before landing on a platform that pulsed with faint light. The soldiers disembarked, weapons raised. "Commander," Chen's voice crackled through the comms from orbit, "I'm patching into the hive's neural frequency. You'll have only minutes before they detect you." Vale nodded. "Then we move fast." Inside the hive, the corridors were alive. The walls pulsed with light, veins of fluid pumping beneath translucent surfaces. Every step echoed with the faint heartbeat of the structure. "Feels like walking inside a living thing," whispered Amina. Vale's voice was steady. "Focus on the objective." They followed the beacon toward the core. The deeper they went, the more alien everything became. Hallways that twisted like muscle fibers. Chambers filled with floating sacs that glowed softly from within. Some held alien embryos. Others held shapes that looked almost human. Chen's voice trembled through the comms. They're studying us, replicating human tissue. Try to understand what makes us different. Vale clenched his fist. They'll understand soon enough. They reached the core, a vast chamber of glass and light. In its center floated Alara, suspended in a sphere of glowing fluid. She looked fragile, almost angelic, her eyes half open as strange light danced around her. Target confirmed, Vale said. We've got her. As they approached, the chamber trembled. From the walls, shapes began to form. Tall, transparent figures with eyes like burning stars. The aliens stepped forward, their movements graceful, deliberate. One of them spoke, its voice resonating through the air and their minds alike. Why do you come? She is ours to study, to understand your defiance. Vale raised his rifle. She's human. That's all you need to understand. The alien tilted its head, colors shifting like stormlight. You risk extinction for one. Vale's voice was steel. For one, for all, makes no difference. The first shot echoed through the chamber like thunder. Energy bolts flared. Railguns roared. The room erupted into chaos. The aliens moved like liquid light, but the humans fought with fire and fury. Pure, unrelenting defiance. Vale reached the containment sphere, firing point-blank into the structure. The glass cracked, light spilling out in torrents. He smashed through, grabbed Alara, and pulled her into his arms. Her eyes fluttered open. I knew you'd come, she whispered. Vale smiled through his visor. Told you. We don't leave our own. He signaled the evac beacon. Chun, we've got her. Get us out. The hive roared around them, alive with fury. As they fled toward the extraction point, the alien voice echoed one last time, trembling with something that almost sounded like fear. You are dangerous. Bill didn't look back. You're damn right we are. The stars burned red over the Hive of Glass. From orbit, the Resolute hung in silent vigilance. Engines flaring, weapons primed. Commander Vale's voice crackled through the comms as the dropship Vanguard streaked upward, carrying Alara and the strike team out of the Hive's atmosphere. Package secure, Vale reported. All units, prepare for retrieval. But the comm didn't last. The Hive woke. From its surface, waves of energy pulsed outward. Not light, not sound, but something deeper. Space itself rippled. The alien fleets began to rise from the station's crust. Thousands of ships, glowing like shards of glass and fire. Lieutenant Rafi stared at the scanners. So we got multiple contacts. Too many to count. Dr. Chen's face was pale. They're not letting us leave. Vale stood on the bridge, eyes fixed on the forming armada. Then we don't run. We make them remember this day. Inside the dropship, Alara slowly opened her eyes. She was weak, pale, but alive. Her trembling hands gripped Vale's sleeve. They're coming. They'll try to stop you, she whispered. Vale nodded. Let them try. But her gaze turned distant. Commander, I can feel them. The Hive, it's alive in my head. Chen's voice came through the comm. That's possible. The neural link they used to study her might still be open. Alara closed her eyes. They're afraid. They don't understand what you are. They only know you won't stop. Vale smiled grimly. Good. Keep it that way. The Vanguard docked with the Resolute. The crew rushed to secure Alara in the med bay while the alarm screamed through the corridors. Outside the viewport, alien ships were forming a wall of living light. Fleet weapons charging. Rafi shouted, They're surrounding us. Fire at will, Vale ordered. Show them what human steel can do. The void erupted. Missiles screamed into the darkness, trails of white fury cutting through the alien formation. Railguns tore glowing ships apart, their fragments spinning into the black. The aliens answered with beams of shimmering energy that twisted through shields and hull alike. The Resolute shook violently. Metal screamed. Sparks cascaded across the bridge. Shields down to 50. Vale gritted his teeth. Focus fire on their command nodes. Chun, find me a weakness in that hive. I'm trying, she yelled, fingers flying over the controls. The core structure is transmitting energy to every ship. It's their power source. If we can overload it, the entire swarm goes dark. Vale turned toward tactical. Load every reactor missile we've got. Target the hive. The crew stared at him. Sir, that close to their core? We'll be caught in the blast. Vale's expression didn't waver. Then we'll go out reminding the galaxy who we are. In a med bay, Alara sat up weakly, tubes still attached to her arms. The ship trembled around her, lights flickering. She could feel the hive, its pulse beating in her mind, fast and terrified. And then she understood. Dr. Chun, she whispered over the comm. I can connect to it. The hive's network. I can open it. Chen's voice came through, urgent. Alara, it's too dangerous. They could destroy your mind. Alara smiled faintly. They already tried. She placed her hand on the cold glass beside her bed and closed her eyes. On the bridge, Chun gasped as the alien signals suddenly changed. Wait, their coordination is dropping. Someone's disrupting the hive link. Vale's eyes widened. It's her. The alien fleets began to falter, ships drifting, weapons misfiring. The hive's pulse flickered like a dying heart. Now, Vale shouted. All batteries. Fire everything. The Resolute unleashed hell. Every missile, every cannon, every ounce of fury that humanity had forged in a steel erupted at once. The barrage pierced the clouds of living ships and struck the hive's heart. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the core ignited, a brilliant sphere of white light expanding outward, swallowing everything in its path. The shockwave tore through the alien fleet, shattering their vessels into ribbons of burning crystal. The Resolute was caught in the storm. Braced for impact, the explosion bloomed like a newborn star, washing the void in pure light. Silence. When the glare faded, the hive was gone. Only drifting fragments remained, glowing like embers in the dark. The Resolute floated on the edge of ruin. Fires burned across its hull, systems failing one by one. Inside, smoke filled the corridors, and the crew struggled to breathe. Vale's voice was weak over the intercom. Status report. Rafi coughed. Minimal power. Life support holding. The hive's gone, sir. Vale looked out through the cracked viewport. The alien world reduced to dust. He smiled faintly. Then we did it. Shin turned toward him. Alara. The med bay door hissed open. Alara stepped in, pale but standing. The glow of the explosion still shimmered faintly in her eyes. They're gone, she said softly. All of them. The hive, it's quiet now. Vale looked at her, this fragile girl from a small village, who had survived the void, who had silenced a civilization. You gave them mercy, he said. She shook her head. No, Commander. You gave them fear. Later, as the Resolute limped home toward the blue glow of Earth, Vale recorded the final transmission. To anyone who can hear this, human or otherwise. We came into the stars not for conquest, not for vengeance, but for one of our own. If you ever think to take from us again, remember what happened here. Remember the Hive of Glass. We're not the strongest. We're not the oldest. But we're the species that never stops fighting. He paused, then added softly. They took one of ours, and we took everything they had. As the transmission ended, Earth's signal reached back. Cheers, tears, hope. Humanity had won its first war among the stars. And in the silent dark, the galaxy listened. For the first time, it knew fear of a small blue world that burned brighter than any sun.